Boys and girls watching, today for language development, we're going to talk about another kind of doctor. Now, in our last lesson, we talked about a doctor that would work with pets and animals. What kind of doctor is that, Kayla?
A vet.
A vet. And what was the real long name? That was the short name for a vet. What's the right name for a vet?
The vegetarian. Veterinarian.
A veterinarian. Try that. Veterinarian. Yes. But because that's such a long name that we say a vet. So yes, a vet is a doctor who takes care of the animals. Now we also talked about somebody who studies animals and somebody who would also work with animals that would maybe be at the zoo that goes along with the vet. Do you remember what that name was?
No.
Well, it was a zoologist. Yes, there you go. Say it again. Zoologist. Yes. So those are some people, the veterinarian and the zoologist, that would work with animals. But how about doctors that work with people?
The pediatrician.
The pediatrician is one that would help with what kind of people?
Children.
The children, that's right. And there's all kinds of different doctors. There's doctors that work with people that have with their hearts. There's a heart doctor. There's doctors that work with people's brains. So there's a brain doctor. There's all kinds of, and that's their study. That means they really focus on that part of your body. So maybe there's a doctor that works with your eyes. There's a doctor that is for your nose, and so they work with just your nose and your ears and your throat. And then there's a medical doctor, and they do all kinds of things. They work with all parts of your bodies. But sometimes there's a specialist. That's what it's called. What is it called?
Specialist.
A specialist, like the heart doctor or the brain doctor, and they deal with just that part. But today I'm going to talk to you about this doctor right here. This doctor, right now, he is working with this little boy right here. So he could either be a pediatrician or he could be somebody that maybe he had to go to the doctor, the ER. Has Mommy ever had to take you to an ER before? That's an emergency room. Say that. Emergency room. But a lot of people just call it an ER because an emergency starts with E and room starts with R. So he might be an emergency room, and this doctor is taking care of this little boy. Now, do you see this thing that's in his ears that he has on both of his ears, and he's listening to his heart? Do you know what that is? It's a stethoscope. Now, I have a pretend one that you could pretend and play with. But the doctor would put it in his ears like this, and then he would put this part right here on your heart, and he would listen to your heart. So let's see, Mila, come see Mrs. Stewart. So the doctor would have you sitting on up. So I'm going to have you come sit right here for Mrs. Stewart. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, up. Okay, here we go. Kind of turn sideways for Mrs. Stewart. And then he would check you out. So he would put this right here, and he would listen. Can you breathe? Take a deep breath. Now breathe out. Now take a deep breath in, and deep breathe out. So he's listening to your heart. Then sometimes he will take it and put it on your back. And he will do the same thing. He'll have you breathe in and breathe out. And he can listen. And what he's listening for is your lungs. He's listening to see if there's maybe some fluid in your lungs or something in your lungs that is causing you to cough. Because sometimes when you go to the doctor, you cough, don't you? And that makes you, because you're sick. So he's listening, and he's using the stethoscope. What's it called? A stethoscope. The stethoscope. All right, sweet girl. Thank you. A stethoscope is what he uses to listen to your heart and your lungs, and that helps him to hear if you're sick inside your lungs and inside your body. Now, something else he will use is called an otoscope. Say that with me. An otoscope is a little something he would hold in his hand. Now, I don't have one of those. But he would hold that otoscope, and the otoscope, he would look inside your ears. Auto, because it's something that you can hear with. So he would listen, but what he would do with it, he would put it in your ears, and it's got a light. And he can look on this little tiny screen that's on the front of it, and he would look inside your ears to see if your ears have fluid on your ears. Have you ever had an earache before? Maybe mommy and daddy take to the doctor and they say, oh, your ears are very, very swollen and they're very, very sore, and that means that you have an infection in your ears. And so he uses that otoscope. What is it called? An otoscope. The otoscope is that tool. The doctors have tools, just like somebody who, like a farmer or somebody who has tools that they use at their job, he has his tools. One of his tools is a stethoscope, and one of his tools is that otoscope, and the otoscope is for the ears. What is the otoscope for?
Ears.
And what was the stethoscope for? Your what?
Your heart.
Your heart and your,
Back.
well, your lungs. Your lungs, but that's how they hear, is by pushing it on your back. That's right. So doctors use these tools for that reason. Now, if you're sick, they're going to write you a what? Do you know what it's called? A prescription. Say that. Prescription. That's the medicine that you're going to take. So the doctor will write on a piece of paper the prescription that you're going to take, and then your mommy will take it to the grocery store, and they will get it filled, and the people at the grocery store will know what kind of medicine to give you for what the doctor writes down, and then he will give you, and then you'll take that medicine, and you have to take it the way that it says. Are you allowed to just go take your own medicine? No, that's not something you can do. You don't take any medicine without mommy and daddy first. You want to make sure that you do that. So now these tools that I mentioned, the stethoscope and the otoscope, they're called instruments. What are they called? Instruments. That's what they called them. So they call their tools their instruments. So they have these. They have the otoscope. They have other things. Now look at this right here. Do you know?
Popsicle stick.
It is, looks like a popsicle stick, don't they? Now, this isn't the kind that the doctor would use, the popsicle stick. They don't eat all the popsicles and then save all the sticks. That would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? No, that wouldn't be very sanitary. But what they use is kind of fatter than this. What do they usually use this for? Yes, to put in your mouth, and you go what? What do they make you say? That's right, so that they can look in your what? In your throat to see if it's all red and if it's sore, and to see if you have maybe an infection right here in your throat. And sometimes they might say, oh, you have strep throat, or you have tonsillitis or something. And that's how they check it. And so I know that's not fun, is it? It makes you cough and gag, and it's not very fun. But then sometimes when you're all done, and sometimes they give you a sucker or maybe a popsicle that you can take, because that's so much fun. So they give you prescription, and the prescription is your medicine. That's right. And the otoscope we use for our ears, and the stethoscope is used for our heart. That's right. And all of those things are called the doctor's instruments. Good job. You are learning. And look at his big smile on his face. The doctor is a nice, kind person, isn't he? Sometimes it could be a girl too. Maybe your doctor is a girl doctor, and that's fun too. So maybe boys and girls watching, or boys and girls right here, you might grow up and that could be your job. You could grow up to be a doctor, and maybe you'll work with people, or maybe you will grow people like adults, or people like children. You could work with those kind. Or maybe you will grow up to be like a veterinarian, like we talked about in our last lesson. But isn't a doctor neat? And they are all community helpers. What are they? Community helpers. Isn't it neat? Now the doctors, they have all kinds of instruments that we didn't even talk about today, but they have all kinds of things that they use to help us to feel better, so that they know how to help us. That checks all kinds of different things, and they would be able to help us. The doctor is a kind person. Sometimes it's not very fun to go to the doctors, because sometimes they say, oh, we're going to have to give you a shot. But it's because it'll help you to feel better, and you will start feeling so much better soon. But the doctor is a kind community helper that is there to help you to feel better. I'm so glad that we have doctors. I'm glad that God made the doctors so smart and gives them wisdom to know how to help us. Aren't you glad for that? Aren't you glad? Now, you know what? They have to work really hard in school to be a doctor. When they were in kindergarten, they had to work hard. When they went to elementary, they had to work hard. When they went to high school, they had to work hard. When they went to college, they had to work hard. And then after they went to college, they had to go to more college to work hard. To be a doctor, you have to work really, really hard. You have to be diligent. You have to work very hard. And I'm glad that doctors do that. So boys and girls watching, maybe if you want to be a doctor someday, you'll remember that you have to work hard and you have to do your best every day, just like the doctors.